Radio Zero.
It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose. Is that me? I turned it off before. God. For Friday, April 8th, 2022.
You can subscribe to this podcast through Apple, Google Podcasts, other streamers. You can go to radiozero.us.
Chris Rieger's first. Hello, Chris.
We're live streaming on Facebook, on the Radio Zero page, and the Poster Children page. We're on Twitch at PCJCUSA. That stands for Poster Children Junior Citizen, United States of America. And on the Poster Children YouTube channel. And you can patronize us at patreon.com/Radio Zero. And we have our first international patron.
Romper bumpers, stomper boo, tell me, do. Tell me, magic
Is it
mirror
my
today,
sister?
did all of my friends have fun at play?
We got Willy Wah is now
Oh, okay. That's
our one of
wow.
our sponsors.
Wow.
Patrons. Yeah.
sponsored by Willy Wah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, cool. Wait, I got to turn my subtitles off. Okay. All right, so how are you today, Rick?
I am fine, Rose. How are you? It's been a long time.
I'm fine, too. It has been a long time. Did we eat lunch together today? We did.
We did.
Yeah. Okay.
We had vegan hirachis.
Yeah. So, you know what I wanted to...
That's not right, though, right? Hirachis.
Yeah, hirachis. Yeah.
Why do I think that's...
Because it does sound weird. It doesn't
It's
sound
not a
right.
pair of pants.
No, that's... I've lost my Spanish. My Spanish is gone. Calças are pants in Portuguese, but that's one of the words that probably isn't the same. They're like 10% of the words are not the same in Portuguese and Spanish, and the rest of them have an I in them in Spanish and not in Portuguese. That's your Portuguese lesson for today, all of you. Okay, so we have lots of things we need to talk about today, right?
Probably. I've got a list, but I don't know
Okay,
if it's accurate and up to date.
One was the presidential election.
Wow, that just ground the show to a halt. I don't even have.
Oh, my friend, I don't know, like it might have been there already. So okay, what's first on your list? Because I don't want to I've been like on and off crying all week, so we're not going to talk about that. Go ahead.
The one thing that everyone would probably want to hear about is
Why
is
were you crying, Rose? Because I'm an idiot. Because of my ego. Because of my ego.
It's a female thing, right? It just happens with women.
Yeah, I believe so. Oh, you know what? So I was like at a recruiting event. So
I can't. I feel bad. I made that joke, and then I thought at least there'd be some acknowledgement of how awful what I said was. No.
I was at a recruiting.
Okay.
I was at a recruiting event. No, I'm just used to you saying stuff like that.
That's right. This is why women can't be leaders, is because they're always crying. What if something important happens in a board meeting and you start crying?
Or if you're in a ditch and you get what is that called, the yeast infection? You're gonna get a.
Oh, you're in a
I was at a recruiting event. And so the director of the computer science program here asked they had like a cybersecurity defense contest here.
Like an argument.
They had like a whole bunch of
defend why you need cybersecurity?
No.
Oh.
Like they had, they had to debug something. I should have asked more.
Oh,
about
it's like a competition,
hackathon, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So it was really, really cool.
So it's
and
like what? Try to hack into Illinois State University's servers, kind of thing.
No, yeah, a bunch of stuff went down today, actually. So it's funny that you mentioned that. I was saying it's probably them, but so like high school students, and we were set up with all our game design stuff, and it was so nice too. We walked walked in, they're like, well, here's your table. You can put your stuff out on, and here's a computer all set up for you, and here's the screen for you to use. And then Julian Hall is really, really nice. But like most of the students that came by were like local high school students. You know, I thought that there would be students from other, you know, and I know there were, and I probably wasn't paying attention when there were other students, but like the normal students from normal, I like want to be like, come to our program, but don't stay here. Go, you know, you need to go, like you need to leave town, you know, for college too.
Oh,
and we have such.
I thought it was like, well, this is an event hosted by the computer science department and cybersecurity, and you would feel bad if you started
poaching
people.
No, they invite it. See, that's what's so awesome about them inviting us, you know, like that's like, you know, when you go down Main, I don't know if it's Main Street here, but you see there are like 3 record stores. There's at least 3 record stores in the space of a mile. There's 2 record stores next to each other, record stores, right? With albums in them. And they're friends, and they've been there for a long time, and they're like, they support each other. That's just so amazing. So, you know, so it was great. So I thanked her for letting us be part of it. But I did feel bad, like, you know, come down the street to college here. Because, you know, like it's life-changing when you go away to college. And if you stay in your same town, you know, I don't know.
Things are different now. I mean, that could save somebody a huge amount of money.
That's true. And plus we're
living
amazing.
at home and
like,
going to.
So I was struggling with myself because I'm like, my God, you know, I believe so highly in this program. It's so amazing, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it was but they had, and I'll get to the point of what I'm talking about. They had like really cool CS backpacks, computer science backpacks, and I was like, I want one of those.
Did you get one?
No, she said that they'd given them away, but the next time I go to lunch with her, I'm going to get one.
Nice.
And I said, I'll trade you a straw because that's what we have.
Oh yeah, the little metal
but
straws.
So one of the teachers, you know, the teachers all came by and said, we teach these kids, and I was like, I worship you, you know, how did your kids do today? And they're like, well, we're not sure, but it seemed like it was good. And I got to talking to this lady, and I said, so what do you teach? And she said, oh, I teach math and computer science at Normal West, or, you know, wherever she teaches. And I said, wow, you know, it's really neat that you say math and computer science, because that's my undergraduate degree. It was called math and computer science. She goes, oh, mine too. And I went, wow, did you go to U of I? And she went, yes, I did. And we were like, now we're staring at each other like,
trying to figure out.
And then I said, well, you're probably way much younger than me, so we probably didn't know each other. And she goes, I was just going to say that. So I graduated in 1986. And I was like,
gosh.
That's what I said. Oh, I graduated in 1987. We were in the same classes. And she goes,
you were the other girl.
That's exactly what she said. She said she said there were only 3 girls in my classes. So now we're looking at each other like is that the other girl in the class? She was sitting like a little further, because the other girl, you know.
And then you found out you were roommates in college.
We weren't. No.
They were roommates.
No, we weren't.
Okay.
So that was so like, but it was really fun because we were like looking at each other like, you said, and then I was
like a unicorn finding another unicorn.
That's exactly what it was. And poor Sir John is like, you know, our colleague is like just sitting there like looking at us like, you know, he studies like, you know, like he studies all this stuff, like, you know, how people treat each other in games and stuff, and like sexism and racism and stuff. That's all, you know. So I'm sure he's like, I heard you say that you were the only 3, you know, 2 of 3 women in your classes, and I'm like, yes. But so that was like, so I found a unicorn today. I was very excited. So I was like, are you on? All I could say is, are you on Facebook? I know. She's like, I've started being on Facebook a little bit more. You know, it's weird because I'm different than the other computer science women. It seems like, and I don't want to be. So that, you know, this brings me to the front cover of my book, which is one of the reasons I was crying this week. I think that really, like, that, you know, if you're like, so I was a graphic designer. I could call myself a graphic designer, right?
Sure. Anybody can call themselves a graphic designer if you have.
Okay, we're on to the next topic.
No, I'm kidding. Come on.
No, it's fine.
Come on.
You're being mean.
Mean?
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna cry. But okay, so I've done enough. I worked for
Typical.
have you ever said this? I worked for the Library of Congress. Have you ever said that?
I don't think I've said it out
should.
loud.
Well, anyway, we did. We worked for something that was about the Library of Congress and stuff, and like lots and lots of I think that motion graphics counts as graphic design. So anyway, some poor woman at U of I Press is tasked with making the cover for my book. I'm a graphic designer, and I have thoughts, and so I think
have
just
thoughts.
like I have thoughts and prejudices about brush script, and just different things. So like it and she's so sweet. She like did research on punk rock flyers, and this is what she came up with. And the first one, like I was just like kind of didn't like the first one because it looked like a punk rock flyer, but I don't like no Poster Children output has ever been punk rock looking at all ever. And
But-
then you were like, and then you know what Rick says? Well, maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, well, no, I have thought about that. I feel like our graphic design aesthetic maybe did not. I think Junior Citizen, it works, right? Junior Citizen worked. But I feel like there's a little bit of disconnect, right? We didn't truly embrace the music within.
Like
we
New World
followed
Record. Yeah, we followed design trends.
Trends
but
are what we liked
yeah.
in terms of design, not necessarily connecting it directly to the content. We
Yeah,
didn't do
it's-
a very good job of uniting identity and with the music.
That's right, and that's
which is
because we did
odd.
not go to school.
Well,
By then, we had
well-
not gone to art school.
Well, it's odd because that's the reason why you do stuff yourself, right? Is to be better at
To be authentic.
to be.
Yeah.
And I guess it's fine. I think it was. I think.
Well, no, it's
Well, no, it's the first record. The first record was
yeah,
that we
looks,
did
that looks
at
punk
at
rock.
a
Flower
Kinko's
Flower,
and,
yeah,
with Zipatone. And
yeah,
it was,
that was
great.
that was was just went down from there. And Daisy
Well,
Chain
and then
Reaction,
Daisy
we
Chain
didn't-
Reaction,
we didn't get to.
we had
That's-
ideas.
That's right.
And
And
it
Tool
didn't-
the Man. Yeah.
Well, that was using Illustrator 1.0 or something to design a record cover, right? That's the thing about
Yeah.
some of those. Yeah, like Tool of the Man. It was like.
But
I think we were the first outside designers to submit cover art, like upload it to the Warner Brothers servers, right? So they do that internally,
I remember that.
right? The
yeah.
designers would upload to the server, but I
Yeah.
think they had to do something to give us access to upload the
upload
artwork.
the artwork, right?
Or-
Which is
yeah.
probably like a
Or did we
like a
send it- yeah.
whopping 3 megs.
Because we couldn't send it on a jazz drive or something, right? That was the problem. Is like the jazz drive wasn't.
How big were jazz drives?
Were they a
We were
meg?
like 400 meg or something.
No,
like
zip
that.
drives. So this
Zip-
was so
oh,
the
right,
thing
right,
is,
right.
is
Yeah,
that
there was
zip
a zip drive and a jazz drive.
zip discs were a little more robust, whereas those jazz discs,
The big ones.
yeah, jazz JAZ,
Z
which was
disc.
like the high capacity,
You could put everything
expensive.
on it.
but
And-
you'd drop it and it would
yeah,
break,
or you just
It'd
like
stop
put it
working.
in your pocket.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then
yeah.
all the data was gone. Larry says, and hello, Larry. The Flower cover looks punky. Yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah. So, but anyway, this one, like I saw it and it kind of had it looked very punk rock, but it occurred to me that even though so that's kind of like not denigrating punk rock, but keeping it in its place. And I like to think that, my book elevates punk rock. You know what I mean? It has a happy ending, my book.
Spoiler
Lua
alert.
it's our students are listening to us, and Carla, my sister, and so Ola Lua is there. Hello. My goodness. All right, so Larry says the Tool of the Man cover is cool because it has that optical illusion when you look at it for a few seconds and then you
Yeah.
look at a wall, the image is on the wall. It's very cool. That was the whole idea behind that, is just like people seeing that and going, what? Those colors green and yellow and black, those are not the colors of the American flag, the United States flag. Those are not the right colors, and to get really mad at it. But if you stare, oh, hello, Jim Rondinelli. If you stare at the dot and then you look away, you look at a white wall, the red, white, and blue image will happen. So that, to me, what that meant was that he's making his French lady face. What that meant was you might see something that doesn't quote look American to you, like some happening or some, I don't know, like I don't know, you may see a band, you may hear our lyrics or something like that, and they may seem un-American to you. But when you really think about it, like the purpose is American. It's like, that's what I was thinking. I have no words left for any, like, what.
And the magic eye thing, I mean, the way we got the magic,
at the same time.
The way we got the magic eye stuff was Games Magazine, which was edited by Will Shorts, I believe, at the time.
Wow.
Had like you could buy
software.
I think they had
Go on.
They had an article about
Yeah.
this magic eye illusion, and then you could buy the software from the back of the magazine.
That's
and that's
right.
what we
and
did.
We did that. We bought the software to create like those magic eye, like 3D things. It looks like 3D without and you don't need 3D glasses.
And then
stuff.
unfortunately,
That was all
it became a thing that people sold like the next year at every mall in America.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
Forgot
it
it.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
We were a little ahead of the game there on that one,
We're always ahead of the game,
and yet,
except we weren't.
yeah,
when
if you're
we
ahead of the
weren't.
game,
Yeah.
you can't win.
That's right.
You don't win.
Yeah, you got to be in the
'Cause
game.
You showed up.
Yeah.
I
I feel like we won. But anyway, yeah. So I was like, I felt bad because I'm like telling this graphic designer, hey, you gotta change this, you gotta change that. I felt like an ass.
But
And,
it is. I mean, the thing is it is about your identity, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
need to be in control of your identity, and that
Yeah,
is part
yeah.
of what our philosophy was, and that's why, we, for the most part, did the design on our records was because we wanted to. It was part of our art.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And I showed it to some other, and like all my colleagues at ISU are graphic designers, and I wrote, I felt really bad, but like, and I wrote to the acquisition center, I'm like, they will absolutely judge the book by its cover. So I hope, the poor, I have no idea how angry the graphic designer was at me.
I mean,
but-
that's part of being a good graphic designer is, knowing when to. Well, yeah, just being able to work with clients,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
People.
yeah.
That's why it's different than being, I mean, and that's the thing is we've done that too. So I think the reason why you feel bad is because you've been on the other side of it, right?
Yeah.
So
Carla says she likes it now.
yeah, it's always
Yeah,
it's
I've been on
always
the
a
other side of it.
negotiation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So I think.
But I felt like by the end of it, I was like, I hope she fixes this part, and I think she's just like, that's enough. Like, I'm good. Thanks for sending it
Yeah,
to me.
exactly.
Thanks for doing my work.
That's the limit, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
I
you
hit
have to-
it. And then, so she's like, is it done now? And I'm like, yep, it's done. Can I choose the inside font?
That's tough. Yeah, that's hard to do. But I mean, the thing is that it would be, aesthetically, your aesthetic choice actually would be wrong for actual readability, and that's the struggle I've been having because as a person of my biases, right?
Yeah.
Biases. It's like sans serif is always cooler, but it's like now if you actually look at research on readability, it's like serifed fonts
Or more readable.
yeah.
So
infinitely more readable.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like, yeah, you need to have, and so then it's hard to decide, to find something that works, that's readable, but also looks, cool.
I was also worried that maybe they were like, and so everybody at the press had to like okay it too.
Yeah.
And so I was a person of my biases. Jim Rondinelli says is the new album title. Everybody had to okay it, and then I was thinking like, I was like, well, why wouldn't they okay it? And then I was thinking, well, what if they're like worried if it looks too like morally upstanding
Well-
then like a normal person's going to read it, and like there's a swear word in the first line of the book.
Yeah, I don't know if they're worried about. I mean, they have standards, and there are all sorts of things. I mean, that's what used to. I mean, we had all sorts of issues with that with Warner Brothers, right? Is like we had to have special dispensation to put the barcode on the front of. Was that on Junior Citizen or on the EP before that? Right? There was a huge discussion about that, and it's
EP, which we will not speak of the cover art for the EP, which we did.
The Just Like You EP?
Yeah.
Why won't we speak of that?
Because there's Sanskrit on there for no reason at all.
Well, yeah,
That's like
it's translated.
possibly cultural appropriation.
I guess.
I mean, it was designed because we were into all those like fireworks packages at that time.
All right.
Okay, right? No.
But
Okay,
what I was
anyway.
going to say
Yeah.
is there were all sorts of things about like the upper third, right? So you had to have your band name in the upper third because, like, if it was vinyl, of course, somebody flipping through vinyls, as the kids say, and throws me into a rage every time I hear it. You'd be flipping through at the store, and you'd have to have the band name at the upper third. That was an issue. What else? Oh, but then also CDs, right? So that when they were in the what were they called? Those cases.
Oh yeah.
The big,
Yeah,
but even
long
later
cases.
when they weren't in the big cardboard boxes, you still had to have the name on the front. There were just all sorts of things where it was just basic stuff that if you didn't want it or you wanted to do something different, you had to make a pretty strong argument. Or one of the solutions was, we're going to have to put a sticker on it, right? Which was, that was a way to get a sticker, actually, is if you did something you weren't supposed to do. Or like, well, we don't want to put the band name on there. And then it's like, okay, well, we'll have to put a sticker on. It's like, oh, great, we get to design a sticker too, right? So,
Did we do that? I forgot.
we didn't actually design
Digipack.
the stickers. Digipack.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, Jim. No, Jewel Box,
Jewel
Long
Box.
Box. Yeah,
Long Box.
Jim
Was that what it was
Rondinelli's
called? Yeah.
Well, he would know, right?
He's as old as we are.
Well, no, but he worked in the industry too.
Yeah.
Okay, Digipack, which is a great name.
Digipack isn't the Digipack the
It's just
the
a
paper
it's a good
kind
name
of
for
folded
a band.
one? Anyways, what were we doing? Yeah, so I don't know. Graphic design.
Oh yeah, I'm done talking about it. I felt bad.
But we don't. I did a little snooping around, and I don't think the date that's on the post for your record or your book release is necessarily the date. It seems like it's the
good.
date. It might be the date that they have for everything on this. Like currently, that's going to be scheduled. Like they put the last possible date on it when they
good.
first put up those posts, like coming soon posts.
Yeah,
so,
my book is on the U of I Press website.
but
So
again,
cool.
that may not be the release date,
I
and
wonder
you have
if
to
they
kind
have
of.
T-shirts.
It's difficult, to find, but I
I
found
want
it.
Maybe I'll get a tattoo with it. I love their logo. It's so beautiful. Okay, go on.
No, that was it.
Yeah. Okay.
We had a
So-
Salaryman show on
was
Saturday.
Just gonna say that. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Also,
Salaryman
yeah,
show.
I think it was obviously last time we talked was 2 weeks and a day ago. The special annual Spring Thursday show.
Oh, because I
was
had
the
to do
last time.
something on Friday. Oh,
You-
because
you
I went
away.
away.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
talk
I went-
about Florida too.
I
Your
went to
vacation.
Florida. Oh God,
what
I
you
had
did
a
on your spring vacation.
wonderful time with my sisters.
And we played with The Most Distant Object, and it was like a
They were good.
a
A reunion.
rock aging. How would I?
You know what?
classify?
I've seen like there are even older rockers than us, so it's okay.
Yeah, but it's
So yeah, we played it. It was so nice to play a show with Howie. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
We drove to Chicago, right?
As one has to do when they play a show in Chicago.
We drove to Chicago and then we played. We practiced in
Mm-hmm.
a Chicago practice space. That was funky. That was really neat.
we haven't done that since
Yeah.
Johnny was in the
Yeah,
band, right?
yeah.
That
and
was
also, I thought
we
I
had
saw
a
Johnny at
crazy-
the club too.
Really?
I had no idea. Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
think he lives.
I don't-
Does he live in Chicago?
Maybe he
I don't think
doesn't. I
lives in
hope he doesn't because I didn't say hi to him if it was him. I had no idea. I figure if he was there,
He would have
say
said
hi.
something.
Yeah, but I mean, I had other people coming up to me and I didn't recognize them,
Yeah.
and like an idiot. So my parents could have been there and I wouldn't have known. But that was fun. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
I didn't playing Salaryman. I used to feel a little weird because I wasn't jumping around, and now it feels okay. And
Because
like,
you're old.
well, but the other thing, like I like the way the keyboard sounds. It sounds really good, and I have like a little bit more confidence now. I'm like it's a cliche for women to not want to touch knobs and stuff. So. Like I'm like I better force myself, and I should like get over my fear of touching the knob.
All right.
It's also nice because you don't have to sing, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's great for me. I go from having a huge amount of responsibility in poster children to very little. I do a lot of
Yeah, it's mostly a Howie show. It's like Howie's got to play on time and stuff like that.
although I am somewhat responsible for making the songs coherent. It's kind of like I think I am. I mean,
everybody's parts are great. Your parts are
yes,
fantastic.
but I'm
the bass
so-
parts are important too. Who's calling me? Spam risk.
there's a little bit of everybody's playing all the time kind of in Salaryman, so I'm the one who stops playing or plays whatever's left wherever there's room to play, kind of thing, or a melody to tie it together. That's my job.
Well, I did notice that they are kind of like A B, sometimes C, A B C.
If
And I
that,
guess it's
I think they're
probably
like
okay.
A.
A plus.
Yeah, I hear lots of A's.
Yeah. But it was really fun. And then the people came up to us afterwards. Well, people wanted an encore, which was really sweet. And it's unfortunate that we didn't have any other songs. We could have kept some back.
We could have.
We played some new ones too. I wanted to tell people, "Hey, this is a new song," but we don't talk as Salaryman. So, guess what? Why did the chicken cross the road? So, what songs did we play?
New songs.
I think I broke your car.
I think I
I
hit,
hit your car.
Which the story behind that title is that while we were rehearsing at our house, so we rehearsed in the basement of our house, and there's like a stairwell that goes down. Like, oh, the snow's starting. Our nice April snowstorm. It's kind of it looks like a tornado shelter, but it's just the stairs that go down into the basement, and then that's right where Howie sits. And then our son came down the stairs while we were working on that song, and came in and said, "I think I hit your car." And Howie had a moment where he was trying to figure out why I was talking to him from behind his head when I was standing in front of him, and then he realized it was my offspring.
Dairy King. We call him Dairy King now.
Dairy King, right? Yeah, Dairy King is now. He's got a new job. No longer not Bread Boy.
He could be called Dairy Queen too, but Dairy King is good.
What was his name before that?
Panera. I don't know.
It was Bread Boy, right?
Bread Boy, yeah.
What was he before Bread Boy? Bag Boy.
Bag Boy.
Bag Boy and Bread Boy, and now he's Dairy King.
He's having a good time too, I think.
He's good. Yeah.
So anyway,
Dairy
you said
King
I think I hit your car.
So that was.
That's that song.
That was a Salaryman moment. And what was odd about it is I had samples of car crashes. That's why it was a miracle moment. It was a Salaryman moment. So that's the thing about Salaryman, and that was the fun thing about, so the problem we had is since we were rehearsing in the basement in Bloomington Normal, I got Rose digital TV because in the past she used.
Regular
analog
TV,
TVs,
just a regular
right?
TV. Because
So that was the last time we played. There was still analog television, right? And so now to get random television broadcasts, but in our town, there's very little. Like the digital channels are all coming from Peoria. Peoria, I think. We're not. So we can barely get any digital TV.
But there was some good. Yeah, there was some good
on the
TV.
first floor in the basement. So then when we got to Chicago, did a scan, and there were like 60 digital television stations.
That's right. And we had Quincy.
Yeah, and so it filled
Quincy.
Everything in. That
So
was the
in
missing
Salaryman,
piece. But the randomness, right? So having those random moments.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Salaryman, one of the players in it is a TV set, and I just turn on the TV every so often to get whoever is acting on the TV at the time will be part of the Salaryman experience, right? So, what
else
was I
did we
say?
play? We played Jimmy's Buffet, It took a
sounds-
long time to work out the name of that.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like a now Jimmy Buffett song. I guess
It's just got kind of like a
Ding,
like
ding,
a
ding, ding, ding,
Florida
ding.
Keys kind of feel
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
What else did we do? We did Night of the Gringo.
So so I call that song Gringo Day. And then in parentheses Every Day Is.
And that's
But
two.
you calling it Night of the Gringo,
Yeah,
and then we
'cause-
had a whole long discussion about how we couldn't use the word gringo in it anyway.
Well,
and then we
I
needed
think
to find
Gringo
out.
Day seems like potentially offensive.
But Night of the Gringo,
Night of the Gringo seems funnier
okay, yeah.
and not
Hi,
not
Dan.
like when you say
Talking
every
about
day.
salaryman songs.
And then what else?
Well, every day is Gringo Day. Is like
Yeah.
it's like every day is Children's Day.
But Night of the Gringo's better. And
Are we
then-
actually going to have that? We're going to have to find out if we can say that, if we can actually use that, right? Or are you feeling comfortable with it
I'm
now?
feeling pretty comfortable, but
Wow.
again, I'm the worst person to determine that as a
White male,
White
gringo,
male.
as a gringo.
as a gringo.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I can. I'm embracing the term.
The other thing is, I didn't know if there's
I'm,
such a thing as gringa.
I'm reclaiming the term.
I need somebody to tell me if there's such a thing as gringa, because I didn't think there was. Because like a lot of a lot of Portuguese words at least end with o. It could mean either male or female, and then others end with a. Like criança is like kids, crianças, and those are os crianças. So I was wondering if there's a gringa, and then we were at some restaurant that had a gringa choice or some gringa's choice or something like that. And the woman was like, I'm sorry, I don't know why it says that. And I was like, I do. So, okay. What other songs did we play?
Hard drive's gonna fail.
Oh, that's my favorite title of all time. A hard drive's gonna fail. Also, I like that song a lot, but I have a feeling that it doesn't come across live. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. We like it.
Yeah, yeah.
when
it
we get
doesn't
into
matter.
it. So
yeah.
and then
Screw you guys.
was that? I think we just did 4 new
It's
songs.
a lot of songs.
It was a lot. We did a lot.
Yeah. Some of those other songs are really loud too. Like I really love Rather, and I love because it's so quiet, and it's so not poster children-y. And then so I can be like, oh, you want to hear my band Salaryman? Here, it sounds like this.
That's why I like.
But
hard drive's gonna fail. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
it's
it has
quieter.
It's more rathery.
yeah.
And that was
I
what
love
was.
that song. But like voids and superclusters is like the end of the earth coming. Like it's gonna if we play a show outside here, it's just gonna be like, oh my God, it's too loud again.
Isn't
It'll be
that
okay.
the whole point of playing a show outside? Is
That's
that it's
true.
easier
It's
for
too
people
loud.
to get it? Yeah, it's hard to be loud for an outdoor show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we played some oldies.
And people, okay, so Bob Weston was there. He had a giant coat. Bob Weston from Shellac / what is it?
Martha's Vineyard Fairies.
Okay, all right.
Martha's Vineyard.
From Volcano Sons.
He was in the Volcano Sons.
Yeah,
that's right.
that's what I always think of him as.
He was the Martin, what's his name? Replacement in
Squirrel Bait? No.
one of the most important bands ever, whose name apparently I've forgotten and I've seen a number of times. I remember Roger Miller's name.
That's how that's
Escaped
my certain fate.
Mission to Burma.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Oh.
It's so terrible.
Okay, Carla, she's pretty sure it was a slang for when they would decide who could pass through an area, and the white people would get the green light, so they would say gringo. Wow, Carla.
Interesting.
Wow. Thank you, Carla. Where did that information come from? I want to know.
The
okay.
internet.
Yeah, well, okay. It came to me from the internet. Okay, where were we?
Chicago, playing a show.
Oh, so Bob Weston was there, and then our old my old professor, who I apparently never had, Ryan, was there,
No, yeah.
and Sarah, his partner, who I traveled to ISU with, but at the time I was like, wait, who are these people? I'm so sorry. Hopefully they're not listening.
Everybody looked
Dad.
pretty.
Everybody looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still recognizable.
Oh
that was
yeah.
good.
Well, yeah, for you. Who else was there? We're gonna forget somebody.
I mean, there were a lot of people there.
Yeah, there were a
I
ton of
I feel
people.
like starting to name everybody.
Yeah, not
I
a
mean,
good
it
thing.
was. It
because
was.
We'll forget.
It was classic. You know everyone's name in the audience, which is fine.
But some people came up to me afterwards. They were like, "We didn't even know
Oh,
there was
yeah.
music here. You guys are amazing! Wow!" You know, that was really neat. Like
We got
young
some-
kids.
We got some millennials in there.
Yeah, totally.
the
Well,
millenni-
it
yeah,
seemed
it's-
even younger than
We
millennials.
if we loop around, yeah, it's time to loop around. I mean, that's the key. Is we just got to get those millennials into us.
All right. What else you got?
You
Thank
want
you.
to talk? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, go on.
No.
No, I don't want to talk about what I was about to talk about. Go on. Uh-oh.
Oh,
What?
are you got something you got? You got to
Nothing.
run.
No.
You want to talk about the Oscars? That's already old news.
Oh, the guy who hit the other guy. Is that over with now? Yeah, I was watching that with my sisters, and we actually saw it happen. And
Oh,
then
you did?
like the
Oh, yeah.
I saw it happen.
And so did
and,
I.
And the audio went out, and I
Dal
was
and
like,
I.
"Oh my God, what's going on?" And then
Yeah.
you saw Will Smith going.
That was great.
You know, I was like,
I
"What
loved
the
it.
hell?" And then you sent the Japanese TV, like
Right,
the audio was there for some reason, and
Well, because they all the international feed, they all got the live feed, and then they got to do with it what they wanted. So in Japan, they were translating it, so that was great. Yeah, it's like almost immediately the Japanese translation was coming through, like with the live audio, and then a Japanese translator translate. It sounded like translating everything Will Smith was saying.
yeah, that's awesome.
It was-
the
yeah.
best thing ever.
Yeah, I don't know what to say
Well,
about it now that it's blown over and it's no longer important.
Like
I think
after it
he's-
happened, like was it Questlove? Is that the name?
Yeah, that was I got actually, now that I remember, I was super upset. It really upset me, and I felt like it was as a white man, but I was like, oh, this is great. It's like there was like a good run there, and like Questlove, was it and then it all kind of got ruined, I guess, where it was just like, oh, this is gonna ruin everything. Like Questlove winning. So a musician,
And he was crying.
yeah, and
I mean, he was such a like heartfelt, wonderful speech that he gave.
yeah, and then the music documentary
New,
is,
yeah.
the documentary's great, and there's some really great stuff. If you haven't seen Summer of Soul, it's just beautiful. The Fifth Dimension, right? The Fifth Dimension stuff where they're just talking about, it's just really nice where they're talking about their, like, how the perception of them at the time was like basically black artists who white people listened to, right? And then they actually got to perform at that festival, and people got to see their people, right? Their community, where they came from, got to see the connection where it was like, no, it's not just this group of, black people sanitized for white audiences. It was like they were able to connect and show that they were part of their culture, right? Not this weird, outlier. That's the most beautiful part of the documentary. But yeah, just the fact that it's a music documentary, put together by a musician, and then it wins an Academy Award, and then gets totally ruined by Will Smith, basically, I think. And so yeah, my problem is that and so it upset me, and then just sitting there waiting for Will Smith to win the Oscar and then talk, it just really, really stressed me out. But that said, I haven't, I've never really been that engaged with the Oscars, although I've watched it. I mean, there's an episode of us, I think, live commenting during the Oscars.
Really?
Somewhere in the archives here.
Jesus.
Yeah. So we've done that before.
God.
I think when we used to do like the show on Sunday nights, is we would just talk during the Oscars, although they used to be on Monday nights. But it was upsetting. And so the bottom line is that, so the idea of, and I've thought about this more actually, is like, it's just wrong to hit someone, right? So it's like, when I was 17 or 18, I had problems, I got into scuffles and fights when I was younger, right? And I think young men have that problem, right? It's just kind of like you're testosteroned out, I'm not making excuses. It's just culturally, it's just like really, really hard to be, in control of yourself emotionally. And then I'm like, but wait a minute, this is someone my age. It's like Will Smith should not be smacking people, even if they say something. You talk back. So the yelling back, okay, fine. I think that's still okay. Although some people would say that would be problematic. But the slapping is bad. And then I realized, well, he got up. He was sitting. You don't get an idea. I mean, it is a small space. He was like right there. It was like maybe like what, 10 or 12 feet away.
Yeah.
But getting up, after it happened, and then getting up, walking up there and smacking him, that's much different than if you're like two guys standing face to face, kind of going at each other, and then someone finally snaps and starts smacking the other one, right? So it wasn't even that scenario, right? It's like he
went from 0 to 60 in like 10 steps.
He made I feel like if you're just carried away emotionally, right, that walk up, that to me is more deliberate, right? But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I guess I've seen situations where guys are being held back, right? Their friends are holding them back, right? That very theatrical kind of thing where it's like,
and
hold
these
me
guys
back.
are
And there was
actors too, so.
no one to hold Will Smith back. So he just had to keep walking and smack him, I guess. But still, So I think it's just.
Oh, we got Danny Ingram here. Sly and the Family Stone were amazing in.
Somersault. Yeah. Oh, the
Somersault.
whole thing is great.
And then Dan says he saw a headline earlier today that Will Smith was banned from attending the Oscars for the next 10 years.
10
Hopefully
years.
that's the last of it, and now it can fall out of the news cycle.
Yeah.
And we ended up talking about it too. So oops.
I know, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it.
Yeah.
But Chris Rock is starting to. He's on the edge. He's starting to say things like, "Oh, people can't take a joke." It's like people are canceling comedians and no one can say anything, and so he's on the cusp of becoming an old comedian who's out of touch, right? And the problem is like being an old out of touch comedian is a problem because if you're making millions of dollars as a comedian, right? So it's kind of like these older comedians who are millionaires. It's kind of like the millionaire or billionaire musicians too. It's kind of like they came from a certain era where you could become very wealthy doing this, right? Right? And so the idea of losing, your edge, literally, I guess.
Losing my
right?
edge.
Yeah, and not
Yeah.
rolling in your millions of dollars, especially if you're but hopefully they all have good business managers and art. And honestly, not to be mean, not to hurt comedians' feelings, but it's a slightly poisonous occupation. Like you do have to find someone to make fun of. It's really hard, to do comedy without othering people, right? But then the question is are you othering, or are you pointing at, or are you making light of the people in power who should be, taken down and need to be taken down, right? And then that's the complexity of what happened at the Oscars too. Is it's a couple of millionaires going at each other, right?
Yeah.
And so it's hard to say where who's being torn down. Yeah. Well, it's a woman, right? So it's making fun of a woman, right? And then two men fighting about it, getting into a physical altercation
again, I had
about
something about that in my book. I was like, I think it was a Kim Deal quote about how we didn't need to be rescued from like I think she was like saying something about Ian, like saying, hey, nobody, don't dance in the front here. We want everybody to be able to see the show. And, I think she was like, hey, us girls can take care of ourselves or something like that. I feel like you had me take that out of the book, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, because again, not to be an apologist, especially for someone who's saying, hey, stop. So, yeah, it's like, hey, if it's a bunch of dudes and then you're basically saying don't hurt the girls. I guess but I think again, not to speak for Ian, but I think it's just more like, do you want your music and your performance to be a vehicle for young men to get out of hand and beat the shit out of each other, right? It's like, does it spin out? Is it a simple kind of sort of tribal, communal dance, physical, kind of, which has been part of human culture forever, right? Which is like getting really crazy and dancing, right? Yeah. To the point where religions have either embraced it or banned it because it people get into an altered state, right? Same way you do when you listen to music, right? It's an extension of that, dancing and music, the arts, right? But then if it becomes just a bunch of dudes, and I guess it's not fair. I guess that genders it, but that is usually a problem. It's just like, oh, it's a bunch of guys looking for an opportunity to beat the shit out of people, right? To be violent, right? To explore the violence that apparently is, kind of built in, right? To a lot of young men, right?
Yeah, Larry's writing like mosh pits.
Yeah, mosh pits. So there's the mosh pit, and there's moshing, and then there's, hey, let's go to this punk rock show and fuck people up, and or get, not even that. It's just like you can get fucking crazy there, and it's like, oh man, I'm bleeding. That's so fucking cool, It's a fine line. And so at some point, if all your shows, you're playing shows, and all it is a bunch of guys beating the shit out of each other, all of a sudden you're not really. It's not dancing. It's not a communal thing. It's basically, what is it called? What is it called? The MME.
Mixed
martial arts or whatever. Yeah, it's just like, what is it? Like the cage, cage fighting, right? It's just kind of like, or Fight Club, right? It's not a communal thing anymore. It is, I guess, but it's a communal, violent, kind of craziness. And so I don't have a problem with, saying don't do that, right? And part of what would happen at those Fugazi shows is that, though, they would attack the masculinity of those guys, right? That was part of it. But that was, that's an outdated strategy, right?
Chris Rieger is saying it's a weird thing. I agree, Lal. And then I was at Slipknot last night and got reminded. I mean, I enjoyed my first mosh pit, I think, was the Naked Raygun show. Mm-hmm. And I fell that I fell down immediately, and then like some huge guy grabbed me and picked me up and just hugged me and had like protected me, like for a while. And then he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Uh-huh." And he goes, "You want to go back out there?" And I go, "Yeah." And then he pushed me back out, and it was wonderful. I loved it.
And it's like everything. It's like it was a good thing at the beginning, and then a bunch of knuckleheads ruined it.
Yeah.
Like everything. That's basically any kind of.
Right.
Kind of art form or dance, anything. It's just like, and then a bunch of knuckleheads ruined it. That's just happened. Then you go on to another thing.
The meaning gets like, what is it called? Like
co-opted or
co-opted is a better word for it. Okay, what else do you have? I had a good couple of conversations with Ian about like the area in my book that I wrote about him, and he's like embarrassed because I'm like very complimentary and stuff. But then I think he may have mentioned something about like the context, like what I'm not sure what happens before or after this. So I was like, oh, I'll show that to him because like afterward it talks about gratitude, and before that it talks about like conscientious punk rock labels and stuff like that. But he took issue with a lot of my wording because people from the East Coast, they talk different than like sardonic Midwesterners, So I think I had said like all those people who run these record labels are self-righteous, and he was like, that's pejorative, and I'm like, no, it's not. I'm self-righteous. I mean, that's just what I am. And he was just like, I think he looked it up for me. And it was pejorative, so I took it out. And that's fine. And then I made fun of him for a while about it. Oh yeah, I won't write that you're self-righteous and stuff. And I think I made him feel bad. And now I'm afraid to read the rest of the book because somebody's going to be offended somewhere. And so I talked to my friend Lillian. She's like, "Oh, you'll piss some. You know, a lot of people are going to be mad."
Yeah.
So like, it's
and someone's going to be mad that they're left out.
Saints in the Pits, Chris. Yeah. You think somebody's going to be mad? Then they can read the online version.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on if yeah. I mean, it could also be like, oh, boo-hoo, I'm not in Rose Marshak's book. I guess they can just say that. It's like, who cares?
I don't think anybody's like, well, nobody's going to read it. It's like, just our fans. Thank you. And you guys will, like, anybody who reads, I was thinking about that too. Like half of the tour reports are in there. So it's like, oh, I already read this.
I already know this story.
But the cover's really nice now. Okay, what else do you have?
Severance ended.
Yeah,
the TV show.
Yeah,
but there's not really much to talk about unless you've watched it. I think I've come to terms with it, though. I did enjoy the ending. It was worth it. It did. I did get. I just call it my third season of Twin Peaks moment. So they're like with, and I'm sure I've mentioned it over and over again. I've just forgotten. But when that third season of Twin Peaks came out, and then somewhere about halfway through, I was like, I'm not going to watch this anymore. It just makes me feel bad. Same with. I got through one season of The Woman Show.
Because you're a wuss.
The Woman Show, what is that called? The Handmaid's Tale.
I was going to make some kind of Republican
I got
joke.
all the
Will
way through.
each copy of the book be autographed? Of course. I could do that. All 10 copies, yeah.
Yeah, I made it through the first season of The Handmaid's Tale.
Did you have the 13-year-old watching Severance too?
He would come in and watch it, but he didn't. It's too much. It was too much for him.
Yeah.
To there's no reason to have a 13-year-old see how awful having a job is. The metaphor of work being awful.
Do you feel like your job is that bad too?
No, I'm
okay.
a very lucky person. I mean, I get upset and I get irritated and I get tired. Like, yeah, I'm not going to pretend that it's not a job, but definitely I've had the thing is that I've had other jobs, right? So I know.
Do you know how to compare that?
Yeah, and
like when you worked at Dairy Queen.
I've been lucky. The jobs I've had have been relatively good, but there have always been, they're just sort of structural problems.
Chris is asking if
and people problems, right? And so that's what's nice about this job is like there's a certain amount of autonomy, there's a certain amount of flexibility with my time, right? But there's a certain amount of structure. It's a great job actually. It's an amazing job. It's about the best.
Are amazing.
It's if I think if everyone's job could be like ours, I think in general work would be a much more pleasant experience.
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean that we don't have political issues? We don't have, just like office politics, and we don't have
like why I was crying all week.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You're just.
But
not,
that's my ego,
like,
my stupid ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have ego problem. Yeah, that's not true. But what I'm saying is the balance of autonomy and structure is pretty ideal, I think. That said, it's also our community and our workplaces has been voted as one of the best places to work in terms of colleges. So it can be very different, I know, in other places. So the job itself,
we live,
just in the abstract, being a college professor, it's a great job, but there are plenty of situations and plenty of college professors who want to jump out of their ivory tower every day. So it's not
us, 'cause
not a
we're,
guarantee. Yeah.
We work in a lovely heavenly place.
I wouldn't exaggerate it though. I think what it is it's a place. Well, okay, yeah. I think you are though, because like you said, you were crying all week. So it's like you say
that was because of my ego.
But you're prone to hyperbole, where it's just like, oh, this is the best place in the world, and then of course during the week I have to, reassure you that you're, or whatever. It's like you go through emotional ups and downs.
Yeah.
What was I actually going to say though? I had a point
about Severance.
No, I had a point about the job.
Oh, you've worked in a lot of other places.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was a good point. I don't know. Well, definitely. I think it's worth it, the slog through some of the darker points of Severance.
So Chris Rieger's asking if we'd seen Moon Knight. I saw it. I don't think I'm the target audience because I got scared and sad. But there's like a second episode, and I'll give it one more try. What about you?
I watched it kind of. I was in the room, so in the same way the
He doesn't do
13-year-old
Marvel, yeah.
watches
Yeah,
things
Severance.
that I watch. And he's on his phone on TikTok constantly. I was like doing something while Moon Knight was on, and so I was a little. I think I could handle Moon Knight now that I know that. What's his name isn't going to be doing that accent all the way through. He's got another personality without the accent.
Larry's asking if we watched Peacemaker on HBO Max.
Yeah, didn't
Probably
watch that.
only like it if we enjoyed the DC Suicide Squad movies.
Yeah, and
I saw part of one.
I can't remember why I watched. Was it Graham who wanted? Was it
Yeah,
Dairy King wanted us to watch that?
yeah.
So I watched it, and I thought it was okay. The Suicide Squad stuff, but what it was like something else. It was like the alien. It was like the happy alien starfish thing, right? I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Okay, what else do you have?
Let's see.
The new one is much better. Okay, Chris, I'm excited about it then. I'm trying to think of like what, like a guy, like a cute guy who was in Star Wars, like my hero in Star Wars, like going crazy. That made me sad. I'm such a wuss, man. I'm such a wuss now. I'm trying to get over it, but, all right, go on. What's on your list?
On the opposite side, I started watching the Julia Child series.
There you go. Is that scary?
No, it's not. It's pleasant. I like it. It's and what's funny is it's like the bad guy. Well, I think he's moving away from being the bad guy, right? He comes around is Russell Morash, who's the guy who created like the Victory Garden and This Old House. And so like seeing that name and realizing, oh, this is a real person who's kind of credited for kind of creating that genre of television, and seeing him as he's portrayed as somewhat negative towards Julia Child and a cooking show, but he's coming around. So that was funny. That was interesting. And then just how strange she is. She and her story and her family and her husband and the fact that they were, I'd forgotten about this. I remember hearing about this, but they both worked for the OSS, which was the precursor to the CIA, and it was just like totally weird. And the fact that she was 6'2", and then I just watched that the free TV station, what is it, Pluto has a Julia Child channel, and so they're showing all the.
So you watched her?
I watched an episode of the black
What
and
was
white
she cooking?
60s. She was. It was terrible. I could barely watch it. She was making a fish stew or fish chowder. What? No, bouillabaisse.
Oh.
Bouillabaisse. And she's just like hacking the heads off of fish and like an eel. Oh, this is how. Now, if you wanted to skin the eel yourself, you hammer its head into the counter with a nail, and then you slice it here and you peel it down with a pair of pliers. She's just like, it's just like very violent. It's like much closer to food, like when you could still be sort of intimately a part of the process of torturing animals.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or,
Well, so do you remember there was like a skit on Saturday Night Live where she was yelling, "Save the liver!"
Yeah, exactly. It's and so I went into like Mr. Rogers mode. It's like, oh, I watched this. I mean, I remember the music. I remember her voice. I remember the set. And so it was something I watched when I was a little kid. But it was like, it's weird because like I feel like I saw, Mr. Rogers you'd see, it was on for years. And Julia Child, you'd see her later in the color, she had new shows, and then she was on TV a lot as just a guest star, or on TV, like morning shows and stuff like that. She was just a famous chef. But those old black and white original series ones, I don't think I've seen that since I was 5 or 6 years old. So that's really fascinating to see that. But it is also like she's a strange person. Her manner. And
maybe she was on the spectrum.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and they're exploring that. She's just really. It is that whole idea where she's like a TV personality, and she's obviously really good at it, but it's also like if you were going to say, well, who's going to be the first television chef, you would not pick a 6'2" woman who's not French, right? They say that, not French and not a chef, right? She was just a hobbyist kind of, right?
Yeah.
And she wrote a cookbook. She co-wrote a cookbook,
See that?
right?
Yeah,
But she was not. It's like now you'd go through and you'd audience test and you'd go through this whole process to figure out who's going to be the star of your cooking reality show, right? And this is just
but there are hundreds of thousands of cooking channels on YouTube also, like and Instagram and stuff like that. So Larry says a pretty decent horror film is Antlers, also on HBO Max. Danny Ingram says Outlaws by Stephen Merchant on Amazon is great fun. And Larry says, didn't she drink wine while she was preparing her meals on that show? Every woman drank wine.
Always had a wine at the end, right? So she'd walk over to the
Chris has to go. Bye,
living
Chris.
room set, and then she'd talk about what wine to have with it. And so sometimes she'd drink stuff and taste stuff.
Oh God! I lost what I was gonna talk about. Shoot.
Well, we're at an hour.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, I'm listening to a book on Audible, not a sponsor. It's called The Cartographers, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's probably like it even like the lead character even sits down and has a glass of wine. It's probably like that type of, like, it seems like a mystery book, not anything that I usually read, but it's about about a map, it's about cartographers, I guess. But what's interesting about it is it's like something that seems mundane, like a roadmap, seems to be important.
Right.
So like an everyday item that has been mass reproduced seems to have, seems very Pinchonian in a way. So I'm really enjoying it, but like I like kind of like cringe sometimes at some of the when the lead character, like the main character, meets her old boyfriend, and I'm like, oh, am I gonna have to listen to them like having sex or having an argument? Or it's like, that's like the other book that I'm reading is like the Unity Developers Guide, which I'm also enjoying a lot, which is like teaching me C#. So, I'm used to that type of book, but I'm really enjoying this. And then I'm wondering, like, oh, am I going to be one of those women who like reads mystery books and stuff? Maybe that would be my new hobby. I could like listen to them and knit. There's so many different paths available to one.
The future. There's so much.
So bright.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good night.